Hey YouTube, I am back with another video. Hopefully it's not too dark. I'm trying to catch the sun before it completely goes down. Even though it's like 80 something degrees outside, it's still fall time here in the DMV. And yeah, you know, I don't have a ring light. So let's just get into this book haul. It's going to be another long video. So get comfy, grab a snack, whatever. And so as I said before that I wasn't going to try and buy any books this month, I lied. I think I'm just stop saying that now on. And if I buy stuff, I buy stuff. If I don't, I don't. So yeah, let's hurry up and get into this video. So the first 4 books I have are books that I got at Friends at the Library, which is a like used bookstore. They sell books really cheap. Some of these I was looking for. I have like a list, and some of them I just picked up because I wanted them anyways. So the first that's on the top of the pile is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I got the idea to pick this book up from Alicia at the Pretty Brown Eye Reader. She made a funny video where she said she had like a book confession, and she said she loved his Crazy Rich Asians series because it just entails a lot of drama. So I will read like the first part of the synopsis. It says, when New York Rachel Chu agrees on a summer in Singapore to visit her boyfriend's traditional Chinese family, she expects the trip to be relaxing, if a little dull. She has no idea Nick's childhood home is a palace. He grew up riding in more private planes than cars. He and Rachel will be attending the wedding of the year. Oh, and Nick just happens to be one of Asia's most eligible bachelors, and his formidable mother isn't so sure that Rachel is the right one for him. So yes, thanks to Alicia again for suggesting this book. It was like $2, and that was all right with me because this is like, you know, this isn't probably something I'm going to mark up or continue to read, but I definitely want to read it, and I'll probably pass this on to somebody else once I'm finished. And the next book, I saw the movie like when I was a kid. I probably shouldn't have been watching this movie, but it was on Lifetime. You know how that goes. It is Dorothy Allison's Bastard Out of Carolina. And I remember wanting to read this when I was in high school. I just didn't get around to it. But it is another, it is a story about, you know, I'm trying to remember from the movie. Basically, like, poor white family out in Carolina, and the mother has 2 girls. I wonder if her name is Bone in this one, too. Yeah, let's see. Yep, Bone. So her name is Bone, and what happens is her mom takes in this horrible, abusive boyfriend, and it pretty much goes from there. I remember the movie being pretty graphic and horrific, yet still like a really good story, so I'm really glad I picked this book up. I'm probably not going to read it anytime soon. However, I do plan on keeping this one. And my next one I also read in high school, and it was also on Lifetime as like, I don't think Lifetime made this movie, but it was definitely like a Lifetime movie since it was on Lifetime. And it is White Oleander by Janet Fitch. This will be a reread for me. I borrowed the book from my teacher back then, and so ever since then I wanted a copy. I originally asked, I remember that Christmas, I originally asked for Painted Black, her newer book. I don't know if she has any other books out, but I didn't get into it as much, and so I never finished that. I don't even know where that book is, but I'm definitely keeping up with White Oleander. The movie was good, but the book was definitely better. There's a... Actually, no, that's a spoiler. There is a important character that I think is in the book that they cut out the movie, and a scene that they cut out the movie completely. So, I can't wait to read this again. I still think this is a great story, a great read. I can't wait to read this one again. And the next one is just a rebuy for me because the original book I have is so marked up that I cannot read it. and it is Before You Suffocate Your Own Full Self by Danielle Evans. This is one of my all-time favorite books. I will go into more depth. I'm going to do a video where I talk about my all-time favorite books soon, so I will go more in depth with this. But this is a collection of short stories. This is Danielle Evans' first book, and it's her only book published so far. Great for, it's not a teen book, but it has a lot of teen and young characters. It was such a great read, and I was going through a lot in grad school, and I picked up this book just in time, so I wouldn't go crazy. So I will forever be thankful for this book, and I'm so glad to have a hardcover, and most of all, a book that I have not ruined with my own notes. So all those books were under $10. All the paperbacks were $2, and this hardcover was $3. And moving on. So the next book, I ended up stumbling in a coffee shop. Or no, I shouldn't say coffee shop. It's definitely a tea shop. So Calabash out on 7th Street in DC is one of my favorite tea shops to go to. It is owned by a black woman who is a 5th generation Jamaican herbalist. That's what her board says. And if you go in her store, it is totally smells good, the energy's great, it's beautiful, and you know what I like about that store the most is that they have like teas that are based on, you know, if you have cramps, if you're, you know, if you need to relax, stuff like that, or if you just want some good tea, they have all that for you, and they are like her own blends, so you're not going to really find an Earl Grey, you're not going to find an English breakfast tea in that tea shop, and that's why I love it so much. But I was going to work on my NaNoWriMo stuff, and I ended up stumbling upon a book signing. So this lady came in and she's like, I'm here for the book signing, so of course I had to stay. And it is Daughters of the Stone by Dalma Llanos Figueroa. And I feel like I'm totally butchering her name right now, and I apologize. She is an Afro-Latina author, and she just talked about the process. She read from her book. She talked about the process of her book and why her book isn't necessarily being published right now. And that's an interesting story too, so I plan on doing a review on this book. Yeah, so I feel like I've seen or heard of this book before. I don't know why it just feels so familiar to me, but the book is about a story of her a fictional story based on like African Puerto Rican lineage, and she goes back following kind of like great grandmother to like a current day woman who's living in like the 21st century. And that is one of the things I appreciate about this book. I love stories that tell family lineages, and especially ones that I talk about the women in the family and how those things pass down, and you know how, you know, time changes and how women deal with certain issues, you know, differently, but certain things still remain the same. So I kind of feel like the universe like conspired for me to like end up in Calabash that day. Alright, so my next couple of books, I have 2 galleys from work, and then I ended up buying some more books from work as usual. So yes, I went to work on the literary journal with the bookstore I work at, and while I was there I was like, let me pick up some galleys. So I first picked up Wang's versus the World by Jade Chang. This one, it says, meet the Wangs, an unforgettable immigrant family whose spectacular fall from glorious riches to still name brand rags brings them together in a way money never would. So basically this is like a riches to rags story about an Asian family in, I think it's America still. I know Joss at Scribbles Read has already read this and talked about how much she liked it. So I figured I'd pick up the Galley. If I like it enough, I'm probably going to buy it, or I might buy it as a Christmas present. If you are a family or friend of mine and we exchange gifts, y'all are getting books. Just letting you know now. And the next Galley I got was Everything You Want Me to Be by Mindy Mejia. And this is also a novel. And it says, Hattie Hoffman has spent her whole life playing many parts. The good student, the good daughter, the good girlfriend. When she's found brutally stabbed to death, the tragedy rips right through the fabric of her small town community. Full of twists and turns, Everything You Want Me to Be reconstructs a year in the life of the dangerously mesmerizing young woman during which a small town's darkest secrets come to the forefront, and she inches closer and closer to her death. Evocative and razor sharp, Everything You Want Me to Be tests the lines between innocence and culpability, identity and deception. Does love lead to self-discovery or destruction? I picked this one up because I like the cover, but it seemed familiar to Everything I Never Told You, and I have not finished reading that book. Please do not spoil that book for me because I've heard the ending's really good. I'm halfway through that book. I started at the beginning of the year and never finished it. I do plan to finish it soon. But yeah, this sounds very familiar to that book, like it's a similar premise, and I'm enjoying that one a lot. So hopefully I enjoy this one as much. And yeah, I mean, I think this one comes out in January, so not in time for Christmas. But nonetheless, if I am moved to buy a new copy of this, I will. So the next one is like, these are the books I've paid for. This is like a quick book break. This is a journal, so this is supposed to be John Basquiat. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm fumbling on my words. I'm trying to go too fast. This is supposed to be artwork from Basquiat that's covering this notebook, and it has a cute little sleeve on it. So eventually I'll throw this away, but I think they probably did that to keep it from getting damaged, keep it from getting marked up. But I bought this with NaNoWriMo in mind as an excuse to buy the journal, but it's too pretty. I have come up with a idea for a novel, and I will be participating in NaNoWriMo, but I will not be using this journal. It's just too pretty. You know, I'm flaky with my writing, and I don't want to waste this notebook, and that's why I have a tub full of notebooks that have gone unused. Moving forward to the next books I have. So, two of the next books I have are regular price, and they just came out. So, I'm not going to really go over the premise of this book too much, which is Labyrinth Lost, and I'm not going to go over it because it's pretty popular here on YouTube already. It's about a teenage girl who is a bruja, that means witch in Spanish, and she does not want her powers. And apparently, when she is supposed to go through kind of like her initiation into witchiness, or, you know, growing up, you know, having these special powers, she ends up making her family disappear on accident when she tries to rid herself of her powers. So I'm really interested in reading this. I like supporting people of color, so yeah, I picked this up. The next book I'm super excited to read. I'll be reading this. I'm trying to save it for December, but I'll probably read it sooner than that. It is The Mothers by Britt Bennett. There's a lot of buzz around this novel, but this is something I would definitely like to read, hype aside. The funny thing is, when I went into the Galley room at work, there was a Galley of this book. However, it was like so worn, like the wear and tear was real on this Galley. Like it had been through many hands. It was definitely like a early advanced reader's copy, because this cover was not even on that one. So like something like this one where the cover is pretty much decided, this had nothing on it. It had like a cheap binding and everything, but it had been through so many hands, which kind of is a good sign for me. And when I was buying it, one of the floor managers told me this book was great. So, I'm glad I bought it, and it's beautiful. I can't wait to sit it on my shelf. I wonder what it looks like naked. Oh, this is beautiful. This is still really cute naked. So, yeah, so I'll read a quick blurb. An urgent and provocative debut from an exciting new voice. The Mothers is a book about community and ambition, love and friendship, and living up to expectation in contemporary Black America. And it deals with teenagers who made some decisions in their past and now they're older living with those decisions. Well Done Books, I forgot the guy's name, I just started following him. Well Done Books just did a review of this in another book. I really liked his review, so I'll link it down below. If you're interested in this book, you can have a review to refer back to other than my like quick blurb that I read. So this is definitely a book I'm going to read before the end of the year. And the other two books, not other two, I wish. The other 4 books I got off the remainder table, which is basically a table in a room full of books that are reduced price. So with my discount and it already being a reduced price, I had to get them. So next one is The Book of Night Women by Marlon James. You might know this author by A Brief History of Seven Killings. One of my coworkers told me that she really enjoyed this book, and it deals with slave women. Let me just read the back again. The Book of Night Women is the story of Lilith, born into slavery on a Jamaican sugar plantation at the end of the 18th century. Even at her birth, the slave women around her recognized a dark power that they and she will come to both revere and fear. The Night Women, as they call themselves, have long been plotting a slave revolt, and as Lilith comes of age, they see her as the key to their plans. But when she begins to understand her own feelings and desires and identity, Lilith starts to push at the edges of what is imaginable for the life of a slave woman, and the risk becoming conspiracy's weak link. A true triumph of voice and storytelling. The Book of Night Woman rings with both profound authenticity and distinctly contemporary energy, and its characters, Lilith and the Night Woman, feel instantly alive and unforgettable. So I'm excited to read this. I have not heard much about it on YouTube, so that kind of makes it even more exciting, because even though I'm somebody who likes to know what I'm getting into before I read a book, I kind of like the idea of maybe bringing something new to the table for people to watch and listen to. My next book is not new for YouTube. I actually heard about this book via Ray of Books, that channel, and she had read some of The Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu. I can't remember if it was Rincey Reads or Book Riot, and the channels get mixed up in my mind because Rincey is on both her channel and Book Riot's channel. But yes, not the soft cover. The paperback version of this book has come out, which means that they need to put the paperback version out and rid themselves of any other hard copies that they have in the store, which means this was reduced price. So I've heard about Ken Liu. I've heard that he's great. And I thought this would be a great way to enter into his world instead of reading his like huge, like, I think it's a fantasy novel, but it is huge, guys. And that one just came out. So these are short stories, so I can like slowly digest, you know, what his thesis, what it's writing. And he's kind of cute. Have you seen his picture? It's not in his book, but I saw a picture of him somewhere. It's probably on YouTube. And he's cute. So I'm not going to lie, I thought about his face when I was picking this up. And that did sway my vote a little bit to buy this book. Because I also felt like it was a little bit expensive to be on the remainder table. Usually they run in a certain price range, but this one was like $13, where usually they're like $8 each. So whatevs. So the next two books, I've heard about, and one I haven't heard about. So the one I've heard about is Shelter by Jung Yoon. I hope I'm saying that right. Jung Yoon. And this book recently came out in paperback, so it ended up on the remainder table. And I've heard good things about it. I think this is about another, let's see, another Asian family. It says, Hyun Cho is a young father burdened by a house he can't afford. For years, he and his wife, Gillian, have lived beyond their means. Now their debts and bad decisions are catching up with them, and Hyung is anxious for his family's future. And of course it goes in, the flap even goes into more detail, but clustering my videos always leaves me with like a dry mouth. So I'm trying to get through this fast. So yes, I am excited to get to this one, and I know I need to stop saying that. But I think it also I think touches on domestic violence, because the author was doing an event nearby where I work. It had mentioned that she was working with a nonprofit in the area that talks about and deals with domestic violence and its victims. So I will get to that. Probably not going to read it soon, but yeah, there you have it. And my last novel, but not least, is God Loves Haiti. Now, I haven't heard anything about this book on YouTube. I haven't really read anything about it either, but I've seen it in paperback. So I was kind of interested in picking it up. And so I read the flap. At the heart of God Loves Haiti are the connected but divergent fates of its president, his wife, and her lover. The First Lady has locked her paramour in the closet of her room at the National Palace in an attempt to abandon him and to escape from her eternally godforsaken hometown of Port-au-Prince. She meets her husband, the soon-to-be ex-president, at the airport. Standing on the tarmac, she realizes that while she does not love him, she's grateful to him. It is not at that moment the building tumbled on people as if it were made of cards. This is also set in the 2010 earthquake that destructed Haiti. The hurricane also came to mind when I saw the word Haiti on this book. And unfortunately, you know, the hurricane has wreaked havoc in Haiti there. Speaking of that, if you are somebody who was also affected by Hurricane Matthew, I hope you are recovering well. I know it's been about a week or so, but sometimes these things aren't easy to get over. Like the aftermath isn't easy to get over. So I got this book in the spirit of thinking about Haiti and the fact that I haven't really heard about this book too much, and it definitely is in my taste of books. So that is my book haul. In the spirit of my book hauls, they're just all probably going to be long from now on. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're going to read any of these books that I've hauled, or if you have read any of these books. So yes, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.